Is it even possible to narrow this down to just 5?
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. With me, as always, is my producer, Steve Granado. Steve, it's Monday again. How did that happen?
It's almost like days keep moving or something, and that's what we all live under.
Weird.
Weird, huh? Shocked every week. Hey, guys, thanks for clicking on the show. We're still 5 days a week, as you guys already know, here on Locked On Yankees. We're going to talk about the first 2 games of the World Series. Game 3 is tonight as of this episode's release. So we're going to be talking about how the D-backs and Rangers have stacked up. It has been interesting already in those first 2 games. So we're going to talk about that later. But Stacey, our second run here on this, our second top 5 countdown. Today, we're going to count down the top 5 Gerrit Cole moments from the 2023 season. And man, chock full of them. Almost every time he took them out, if it wasn't May. It was an unreal ride. And actually, we tell you guys all the time about comments and how they move the show and yada, yada, yada. Well, quite literally, today's episode is thanks to a YouTube commenter at Rivka Meiselman3375, who suggested this on our last top 5 episode, the top 5 dumbest moments from the season. So thank you for your suggestion. We are now going to do that here today. And of course, we talked to our Locked On Yankees Insiders Club about this as well to get some input. And that all is part of the show here today. So you guys drive this show. We really, really appreciate it. Stacey, before we get to the countdown, your thoughts on Gerrit Cole's season as a whole in 2023, especially now that you've gotten a chance to watch Gerrit Cole in pinstripes for years?
Magical. Highly enjoyable. I mean, May was a little iffy, but he recovered really well. And the fact that he started the season strong and finished it strong just made my heart happy.
Yeah, it was a true pleasure, and was the save Gleyber Torres only true bright spot every single time. Almost every single time. It was one of those days where you could, whenever he pitched was a sigh of relief, and you're like, okay, cool. It's Cole today. We got a good one on our hands. And it felt pretty standard at that point. Like that was going to happen. Like he was going to give you a chance. And that's what he's been doing for a long time. This year really felt like it, though. He really took a big step. So we want to start our countdown here today. In the first segment, we'll go 5 through 3. In our second segment, we'll give you our top 2 and some honorable mentions, just like last time. So Stacey, why don't you get us started with the 5th best moment of the 2023 season from Gerrit Cole?
So this happened way back on June 14th against the Mets. He was facing off against Justin Verlander. And, when those matchups happen, when you're heading into the week before a Subway season series and you realize how it lines up and you look at Verlander and Cole and you're thinking, okay, this is going to be good. And it turned out to be good. Both pitchers did well in the outing. Now, the Mets ended up winning that game, but Cole had a very strong outing against his former teammate. And yeah, like the Subway Series ended up being good. And that game was one of the reasons why.
Yeah, we were super doubting that series, especially because the Mets had been middling, as we knew, even below middling. They had really struggled at that part of the season and all season, to be fair, except for like a couple of little stretches. But the Yankees were obviously still trying to fight and find their way and all this stuff. But that was like the big moment. It was like, once we saw it line up and we looked at the probables that series, we went, yo, Cole Verlander. And that was like sick. It was awesome. They both almost identical lines. Cole went 6 innings, 4 hits, an earned run, no walks, and 8 Ks. Verlander went 6 innings, 3 hits, an earned run, no walks, and 6 Ks. It was a great game that ended up losing 4-3 in 10 innings. But yeah, that was a heck of a ball game. And it was so cool to see them battling each other.
Yeah. I wasn't looking forward to the Subway Series this year. I'll admit it. But that game, until the Yankees lost, the pitcher's duel was enjoyable. So that was fun.
Yeah.
And, Cole made a lot of big starts this season. Number 4 was one of them for him. Right, Steve?
Yeah, kind of. When it's the only game of the day and you're on the mound as a starting pitcher, Of course, we're talking the All-Star game. Gerrit Cole, number 4 moment of the year, starting the All-Star game this year. And of course, that first inning, the only inning he ended up pitching, he goes 1, 2, 3, throws 9 pitches, 7 strikes. On paper, you go, oh yeah, cool. He gets Ronald Acuna Jr. to fly out. He gets Freddie Freeman to fly out. He gets Mookie Betts to ground out. But of course, Stacey, it wasn't that simple when it happened.
No. The 2 flyouts, one went to Randy Arozarena, and he made a really good play and kind of posed after it like he normally does, and it was great. And even Cole was like, oh, thank you. And then Adolis Garcia, same thing, opposite field, because one was left field, one was right field, when Freeman hit the ball. And basically the same thing happened where Cole was like, yeah, thanks, guys, like, thank you for making my first All-Star start not be terrible. This is great.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so cool that, like, right away, I mean, the All-Star game is obviously always fun, but when you get it to start that way, it's such like a wow, like, here we go. We're in for, like, especially at that point, you're just thinking, like, is every out going to be this? Like, what's happening? Is this going to be, because it was back to back.
Yeah.
It was Arozarena, then Garcia back to back. And of course, Betts grounds out, like, no problem, whatever, just regular ground out. But you're thinking, like, right away, like, man, this thing is off to a red hot start.
He could have been like, I meant to do that. I meant to make them look good.
Yeah. It was just so cool to see, man. It was so great, especially given how good Cole's season had been up to that point. Especially, you mentioned the May struggles for him to bounce back in June and July. And it was awesome all around. I was so happy to watch him start. And once he got that nod, it was like, okay, cool. Like, he absolutely deserves this, because he had been passed over a couple years to start that game. So for him to get that start was really, really awesome. Of course, Stacey, we have to rewind a little bit further. We're talking about April. We're talking about one game in particular for number 3.
So number 3, opening day, and basically all of April. But opening day was the start of April, and it started him on this incredible roll. 18, I wish, 11 strikeouts against San Francisco. And, going into that game, if Judge hadn't signed, look, there was a whole storyline going into that game when they announced that the Yankees were going to play the Giants at the beginning of 2023, because it was also odd that the San Francisco Giants were coming to Yankee Stadium. So there was still that surrounding it, where the Yankees don't usually face them often, and to have them in Yankee Stadium was cool. And Cole did amazingly well against them that day, and it set the tone for his season.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ended up going on to win AL Pitcher of the Month in April. His stats here at the beginning of the season, of course, one start was in March because of that opening day. 5 starts, 1.11 ERA, doesn't give up a single home run, Stacey. And especially now in hindsight, looking at the teams he faced, unreal. San Francisco, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Minnesota, Toronto, Texas.
I mean, some of those teams have some scary people in those lineups. And for him, especially given the home run problem he had in 2022, it was nice to see that. And he did keep his home runs a lot lower than they were in 2022, which helped his season a lot.
4 of those teams made the postseason. 2 of them made the LCS. 1 of them is still playing as we record this in the World Series.
Yeah.
So, pretty good start to the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, that opening day was amazing. What a great start for everybody. And to see him do that, and to see him, of course, set a new record, Yankees record in strikeouts on an opening day start. 11, man. That was awesome. And that was a great day. It was a great start to the season. And really set up a precursor for Gerrit Cole in 2023. Again, like we said earlier, Locked On Yankees insiders who are part of that club, thanks to Subtext, episode description has all the information, inputted their thoughts into this and helped shape our breakdown. So if you want to be able to do things like that, and of course, text Stacey and myself, you can do so by going to the episode description and clicking the link down there to learn about the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. It's a whole bunch of fun. You also get Fan Mail Friday priority, which you guys always will have guaranteed answers to your questions, whether either in text or on the show. But again, you guys can check that out in the episode description. And while you're down there, reply to that pinned comment for Fan Mail Friday on the YouTube side and suggest other top 5s if you like these episodes, which of course we know you did. And you could be like Rivka Meiselman, who suggested top 5 Cole moments. Who knows? Maybe we will make an episode thanks to your comments. So go check that out down below. All right. We have our top 2 moments when we come back and some honorable mentions. So stick around.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now is the perfect time to join if you're new, because new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 right away if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel but have been hesitant for whatever reason, this is your sign. This is the absolute best time to jump on board. The app is super easy to use. Of course, FanDuel gives you all the tools to score big, like spreads, player props, over-unders, and a ton more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Back here on Locked On Yankees. Hey, coming up later on in the show, we're going to talk about the World Series, the first 2 games of it. Of course, coming up this week on Locked On Yankees, you know we've been covering the postseason, and we will continue to do that. So make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our playoff chatter. It's been a whole bunch of fun. It's nice covering winning baseball, right? Isn't it? So definitely hit subscribe on either audio or on YouTube, and you won't miss any of those conversations. We're going to keep talking about them just like we will later today, and just like we will here with our countdown. Stacey, our number 2 moment here for Gerrit Cole this season. And this was a toughie. This was a toughie because the order of this, we got some mixed signals from the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. Some people thought this was number 1. Some people thought this was number 2. Ultimately, we felt this was number 2. The infamous finger wag against the Seattle Mariners on June 20th. I'll set the stage here on this one, Stace. So remember, Jose Caballero, playing for the Seattle Mariners, had some interesting at-bats against Gerrit Cole where he was taking his sweet time. He's stepping out of the box. He's calling timeout. He's waiting as he's swinging his bat around. Like, he is totally taking every second he can of that pitch clock. Yeah. And Gerrit Cole is like, dude, all right, already. Let's go. Come on. He's like, let's play ball. And he's like, isn't this what the pitch clock was supposed to do in the first place?
Yeah.
And he was taking, again, every precious second that he could. That last at bat in the top of the 7th, he throws a pitch, a 0-2 pitch. I mean, like, not even over his head. I mean, like, almost over the net.
Oh, yeah.
Just to send a message, right? Just to be like, because he had just stepped out of the box. He had done the same thing again. And he's like, all right, dude. So he threw the ball as high as physically possible. Then he almost walked him, ended up striking him out 3-2. And as he's walking back to the dugout, gives him a little look and gives him the old finger wag. The old finger wag as he's yelling at Scott Service, or Scott Service is kind of yelling at him. And it was like this whole ordeal. But that moment was just like, we don't see Gerrit Cole do things like that almost ever. So that moment was like a shocking revelation at the time.
So goofy. I'm picturing it right now. And every time I picture it, I laugh just because of, the neck shrug and it just, I kind of want to dress up like Gerrit Cole for Halloween and just walk around like this, wear a Gerrit Cole jersey and finger wag the whole time, because that'd be really funny. But yeah, like you said, he doesn't really show that.
We had some suggestions, by the way, to do Halloween costumes on the show. Just throwing that out there live. I saw some stuff. People want us to wear.
It's actually funny. I was going to text you and ask you if you want.
So there you go. Maybe you do that. That's for the everydayers. Maybe on the Halloween episode. There you go. But you don't see that from Cole. And we ended up doing like that was a fun episode the next day too. Like, we were talking about that game. That was just such a weird moment, but like in the best way. Like, especially because like he came out on top that day. Like, he shoved that day, and for him to do that, it was awesome. And I loved when he showed that emotion finally.
Finally, I feel like his personality is coming out.
Yes, absolutely. Which is what we also wanted to talk about here in our honorable mentions today. Of course, number 1 coming up in a second. But Stacey, some things that did not make the top 5 list. Stacey, I think the number 1 for me, and I've mentioned this multiple times.
Yeah.
Come on, Laz. The hot mic to pick up "Come on, Laz" was obviously not top 5 performance moment, but just the Gerrit Cole versus Laz Diaz battle all season made me very, very happy. I loved that.
That's so great. That's just like almost like a disappointed father yelling at him.
Yeah. I'm not upset. Wait, what is it? I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. Of course, big game against Tampa Bay. His 11 strikeout performance at the end of August was awesome, especially because like Tampa Bay is still fighting and trying to, win the division against Baltimore. So for him to come in at that moment and throw that game was awesome. Stacey, I know this is probably like maybe your favorite, not performance-based, but was the Nestor impression on TikTok.
Just so funny. I mean, everyone did a pretty good job trying to imitate him, but Cole with his leg swing and the fact that he did it at least 7 times and didn't fall over, because I attempted it in my den and I did one leg swing and I fell over into my couch. So the fact that he did it 6 or 7 times and didn't actually fall, thank God. Yeah. And again, seeing more of his personality on TikTok, not even just that TikTok, but the Yankees will set someone up at the front of the spring training complex with a question to ask the guys. And some of Cole's answers to some of the questions were actually pretty funny. And, it's fun to find out like these guys' personalities and what they like to listen to, what they like to eat, what they like to watch, because you kind of know more about them. And he was just into it every time. And I just enjoyed that.
Yeah, loved it. I loved it. Again, the personality starting to show for Gerrit Cole is great. And then our last honorable mention hasn't happened yet because it's the day that he wins the Cy Young Award. That's probably going to be number 1, maybe 1.5. But Stacey, our real number 1, why don't you let the folks know what was the best moment of the season for Gerrit Cole?
Well, it's a combo. It's his last 2 starts against Toronto, but his last start, I mean, just unbelievable. 9 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, no walks, 9 strikeouts, his 50th win as a Yankee in Toronto, just amazing. And then, the game before that also, his start before that in tandem with Michael King, both having really big games in that series too. He made it look so easy that night in Toronto. That was the thing about it. He just made it look like it was effortless during that game. And it was such a pleasure to watch. And again, started off strong against the Giants opening day. And then his last start of the season, unfortunately, because the Yankees didn't make the playoffs. Because God, I would have loved to have seen this Gerrit Cole in the playoffs because I feel like he was really starting to feel it and he would have been great. And yeah, so that's number 1.
Absolutely. You mentioned that it's the combination of the last 2 games, really. I mean, we would be remiss if we didn't bring up his last home start as well. That's not quite an honorable mention since they kind of go hand in hand. But those final 2 games, Stacey, 17 innings of work, 1 run allowed, and 14 strikeouts. Awesome. Just awesome to see Gerrit Cole finish the season. And he had kind of been building at that point through September.
Yeah.
For him to wrap it up that way, I mean, it was beautiful. It was beautiful, especially to go into the Rogers Center. First time in the Rogers Center since the whole Judge stuff.
Yeah.
To be back there and for Gerrit Cole to do that, chef's kiss. And that was the moment. I mean, there were many, many moments, as we've stated, but that was the moment where it was like, if he doesn't win the Cy Young, we riot. That's insane. Look what he just did. And it wasn't even that he performed that high of a level, Stace. It was that there wasn't even a question that he was going out for the 9th. Right. There wasn't a question he was going out for the 8th, but there was 0 questions. Like, no, this is his game.
It's his game.
Let him go.
And what did I say after those games against Toronto? I was like, if they can't hit pitching now, they're going to be screwed in the playoffs. So, yeah.
And they ain't playing right now. That's all we know. But that was so sweet. And especially for that to be the send off for the season of what is an undoubted Cy Young winning season is awesome. Let us know how you're feeling about our top 5 in the comment section here on YouTube. Of course, you can also comment down there, either a Fan Mail Friday question or a suggestion for another top 5 we should do. And in case if you missed, by the way, our top 5 dumbest moments of the season, that's on our YouTube channel. Also on our audio feeds. You got to scroll back about a week to find that. All right. That's enough of our top 5. When we come back, 2 games in the World Series, both of them extremely interesting in completely different capacities. We'll talk about that next. Back here on Locked On Yankees, our final segment here on this Monday edition of the show. Stacey, the World Series will continue tonight with Game 3 as the series shifts to Arizona. Game 1, man, I was flabbergasted. I can't believe Paul Sewald blew a game.
That pitch was so bad.
It was terrible.
That pitch was
He,
it was so
terrible.
it was so bad. What are you doing? It was so
To
bad.
Corey Seager, no less.
Oh, yeah, that was, ooh, but it was great. Like, it was just great for the game and the way it turned like,
Oh,
just that's the kind of World Series game you wanna see, you
yeah.
know? Oh god,
So
that pitch was
I
so bad.
saw a lot of conversation about this online, like on like r/baseball, r/MLB. I saw people talking about Corey Seager,
Hmm.
of course, and with the it was Jeter that said that he was his favorite player now, or somebody said that, right? Whatever. There's a lot of conversation around Corey Seager. I saw other people being like, "Oh, Corey Seager's like never showed this much emotion before." And I'm like, "Do you not remember his run with the Dodgers and like the massive home runs he hit? Like it's only been a few years. Like
What are you talking about?
there was literally a bobblehead giveaway of like the home run, the postseason home run with the Dodgers where he held the bat out and he like screamed at the top of his
Ye
lungs. I'm like, yo, Corey Seager's always been that guy. Like
yeah,
we haven't been able to see it in a while because he hasn't
right,
played on the national stage like this.
right. Yeah, I don't know, some people, they have amnesia? They have baseball amnesia, it's really odd.
Yeah.
I sometimes get baseball amnesia because I'm old, but there are other people who get it, who just I don't know, like, "Yeah, no, he's not emotional at all. He's never been emotional. What are you talking about?" Like,
uh, I can't believe Sewald gave out that bomb, but yeah, I mean that was right. Up was like up in the zone, like a cookie that Corey
it was a
Seager's gonna hit
cookie.
10 times out of 10. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was no way he was missing that pitch, and like you said, 10 out of 10? Oh, yeah. He could throw it 100
Yeah.
times, he would hit it every time. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Adolis Garcia doing Adolis Garcia things. Dude, like what a monster.
And, Derek Jeter said it in the pregame before Saturday's game again about, Garcia. He's like, "It's not just that he's doing it, it's that it's all these rounds that he's doing it in, and he's sustaining this performance through every single round." He's like, "What we're watching is really special because it is. It's just insane what he's doing."
I feel very, I don't know if vindicated is the right word, I guess. I remember watching Adolis Garcia in his rookie season, and he had this game I was watching, and he like threw a runner out from right at second base and like trying to take a double. He like threw someone out at he also like he had like 2 doubles that game, something stupid like that. And right away I was just like, yeah, this guy's gonna be a problem a little bit, isn't he? And I was right. I was like, man,
I mean,
yeah,
it took a little while, but
it
he
took
became a problem.
yeah, I saw that and I went, uh-oh, I think the league's gonna have to worry about this guy for a little bit. And lo and behold, look what he's done. It's been
And as
unreal.
as David Ortiz also said, "Don't hit him. Why are you hitting him? Because when you hit
No,
him,
don't.
you unleash a beast and he hits
Yeah,
home runs."
yeah. It's like a 2 times multiplier on exit velo as soon as you hit him.
Yeah.
Game 2, however, big bounce back for the D-backs, man. Against Jordan Montgomery, who pitched well, like of course he did. It's just his offense didn't do nothing against Merrill Kelly. Like Merrill Kelly stepped up massively.
I mean, that is a performance they needed because that was a rough loss for them in game 1, and if you go down 0-2, I know you're going home, but it's still you're down 0-2, so you, like, have to win every single game at home, obviously, so you're like it's more pressure on the team if you go down 0-2, so for him to come out and do that, and the way his career started and he's kind of like a late bloomer, and for him to come out on that stage in front of all those people watching the game, because there are a lot of people who don't know about most of these Diamondback guys, and he just shoved. He was amazing.
Unreal. Absolutely unreal. Huge outing for him. Stacey, remember when I was like kind of like talking smack? Not really smack, but like I was like, why is Tommy Pham still playing on this team? 4-for-4 game in game 2. He goes deep in game 1.
Could have gone 5 for 5, and he elected to allow his teammate to get
Yeah.
an at bat because
Yeah.
he hadn't had a World Series at bat. So he's like, "Here you go."
2 games in, I'm kind of eating my words a little bit. A little bit.
I mean,
Hey, to be fair, like he's had been doing nothing this whole postseason
right.
until these 2 games.
It's like if Marcus Semien suddenly starts doing things because he hadn't been doing anything really either.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's insane to think that there were a few outs away from having a 2-0 lead in this series.
Right.
And both on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Not that means anything this postseason.
No,
but
it really doesn't.
it really means nothing.
As Texas showed us in the last round.
Yeah. But yeah, that they could have also lost 2 more home games was insane. And if it weren't for Corey Seager and Adolis Garcia. But yeah, what's going on with Semien, man? You feel like he's gonna have a moment at some point here. Like you're just waiting for him to have a moment.
But it's like, when is it gonna happen? Because it's getting late.
It's getting late
Early. Yeah. He really needs to get things going. But as I said, I expect this series to go long. I really think it's gonna be a back and forth kind of thing with them. I feel like it might be an every other game kind of thing. I really don't feel like either team's going to win 2 in a row at any point. Like, I feel like it's going to be, I don't know. I feel like Texas may be in 7 now. I'm kind of changing that, but just because of the way the series is playing, but I'm enjoying it so far. I mean, I don't really have a horse in the race, so of course I'm enjoying it. It's not stressful for me. It's nice to watch baseball and have it not be stressful, but I will say this briefly. I watched the Fox pregame for the first time because I hadn't really been watching anything. And I know people say he's boring and he says cliched stuff, but Derek Jeter performs on that pregame show like he went to school for broadcast journalism. Like, he's actually pretty good. Like, he could be the Kevin Burkhardt on that show with the way he delivers his lines and stuff. Like, as a broadcast journalism degree holder, I'm actually impressed with Derek Jeter. I was surprised. I was like, wow, he's actually really good at this. I'm like, good for you, Derek Jeter. So I think they made a smart choice with him. I think people don't like it because it's A-Rod and Jeter, but I feel like Ortiz breaks them up in the middle, and it's kind of funny. You have Ortiz being the goofball, A-Rod saying really dumb stuff, and then Jeter being the straight man. And I think it works.
Nice. Not just Jeter doing good things. You know who else has done pretty good things? Brandon Pfaadt, your new favorite pitcher. Brandon Pfaadt goes game 3 tonight. This is an extremely interesting matchup. Pfaadt versus Scherzer for game 3 is all types of chaos and insanity that I love to see. And I can't wait to see what tonight's game has in store.
Yeah, I think I take back my every other game thing now, because now I'm a little worried about Scherzer. I forgot about Scherzer.
He looked good, not great last time out. Remember, he's coming back from an injury. Like, it's not like he can't rehab. No one's playing. Can't rehab in the fall league. Can't rehab in the winter ball. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's super exciting. Here tonight. I mean, it's like rookie versus vet, man. I love that storyline, and the shoes on the other foot. The rookie has the high hand. It's crazy, dude. That's World Series always finds a way, doesn't it?
Yep.
Let us know how you're feeling about the World Series so far. Of course, see if your predictions hold true. We saw some predictions come through in our World Series preview episode last week. But it's been a whole bunch of fun. We're going to keep talking about the World Series all this week, so make sure to hit subscribe and you will not miss it. And you can, of course, join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club, where you can text Stacey and text me from your phone to us, and of course talk about the World Series as it's happening. 14-day free trial, so if you don't like it, you can always cancel. Just come hang out with us for a little bit and see if you like being a Locked On Yankees insider. That's going to do it for today's Locked On Yankees. However, I'm Steve Granado.
And I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. We'll see you tomorrow.